Good morning and welcome to Little by Little, a short time in God's Word. Today, October 11th, Nehemiah 5 and 6, Psalm 146 and Luke 24. We're going to go back to the book of Nehemiah, check in with Nehemiah and see what's happening. Chapter 4, there was some opposition, and then chapter 5, Nehemiah is looking within and goes, something's not right here. And so it says in verse 1, there was a great outcry of the people and their wives against their Jewish brothers. For there were those who said, with our sons and our daughters we are many, so let us get grain and we may eat and keep alive. And there are others who said, we are mortgaging our fields, our vineyards, and our houses to get grain because of the famine. And there were those who said, we have borrowed money for the king's tax on our fields and our vineyards. Now our flesh is as the flesh of our brothers, our children as their children. Yet we are forcing our sons and our daughters to be slaves, and some of our daughters have already been enslaved. But it's not in our power to help it, for other men have our fields and our vineyards. So they're all kind of just talking about their situation, and Nehemiah in verse 6 says, I was very angry when I heard these words. I took counsel with myself, and I brought charge against the nobles and the officials, and I said to them, you are exacting interest from his brother. And I held a great assembly, and I said, we, as far as we are able, have brought back our Jewish brothers who have been sold to the nations. But you sell your brothers that you may be sold to us. They were silent. They could not find a word to say. So I said, the thing you're doing is not good. Ought you not to walk in the fear of our God, to prevent the taunts of the nations, our enemies? Let us abandon, verse 10, be this exacting of interest. Return to them this very day their fields, their vineyards, their olive orchards, their houses, and the percentage of money, grain, wine, and oil that you have been exacting from them. Say, we will restore these and require nothing from them. We will do as you say. That's weird. Yeah, because judgment starts in the house of God. That's what the New Testament will tell us later. And that's what Nehemiah is doing. He's kind of cleaning things up. Like, that's not good. Things aren't to be this way. Where's your fear of God? And they instantly knew, right? That those that had taken land and people and exacted interest from their fellow Jews, they knew. And so they made things right. Which is a great story. That's what we want, right? Is to confront ourselves and one another with God's word, and then to respond appropriately in obedience. Chapter 6 starts to talk about this conspiracy. And these guys, Sanballat and Tobiah and Geshem, who kept saying, hey, let's meet together. But he knew, and verse 2 says they intended to do harm. He's like, no, I'm not doing that. Why? I'm doing a great work, verse 3, and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I leave it and come down to you? They sent to me 4 times in this way, and I answered them in the same way. Hey, let's have a meeting. We can kind of discuss what's going on. And Nehemiah's like, no, it's not going to happen. I know the intentions of your heart. And I'm already doing a good thing. I can't stop it. I got to keep working and come and meet with you. And so they tried to then say, hey, we're going to send a letter to the king and we're going to tell him all this stuff. And what does Nehemiah do? Verse 9, B or C. But now, O God, strengthen my hands. Right? He's like, it's out of my hands. God, you've got to help me here. You've got to strengthen me. I'm not going to run. So what happened? The wall gets finished. Why? Because they put their hearts and their minds into it, and they kept steadfast in the direction that God had called them to. Nehemiah was not distracted. He was not worried. He trusted God. And I think that's true for all of us in so many different areas of our life, that we need to just trust when things don't look good and know that ultimately He'll do what's right. And let's be praying for faith to arise, for that steadfastness to be firmly established in our hearts and our minds as we walk with the Lord all our days. Till next time, keep growing little by little.